We're loitering in the Lighthouse of Legrodex, so let's not linger. Find out what happens this week on Hapless Heroes.
I rest my staff briefly on his shoulder.
Hello and welcome once again to the Hapless Heroes podcast. My name is Dave and I will be your host and dungeon master for this evening. Let's start this evening as we start them all by introducing our cast. So this time, eeny, meeny, miny, I'm going to start from my left with Phil as Arasatra.
Well, south was no good. Maybe west it is.
To his left, we have Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
Off in the direction she just said.
To his left, we have John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
Only the Omega Project would use teleporters instead of stairs.
In his left, we have Francesco as Felix Fizzlebottom.
These are not official licensed Omega Project teleporters, okay? These were not sanctioned and are completely, we have no idea how these work.
Unsanctioned illegal teleporters. All right, so as we last left off, there was a bit of a cliffhanger. The party had just stepped through the west teleporter and is teleporting into a brand new room to find a room just like the one they left, except ever so slightly larger, where that one was about 5, 10, 10, 20, 30 feet radius. This one's about 35 or so, just, ever so slightly roomier, and it has 4 pads on the floor in here.
Oh, 4 pads on the floor, but
yes. The one you came in on, and there is one to the south and one to the east. But then there's also one to the north, and it is a little worse for wear. It is currently being smashed to bejesus and back by one of those soul-forged Humpty Dumptys you saw outside.
Oh, shit, they made it inside? Oh, that's not good. Okay.
Jarrell, did it see us?
That's a great question. Let's find out. Since you have teleported in with however much pomp and circumstance that involves. We'll say a 10. Doesn't quite, it's starting to turn slowly, but you've got maybe a moment to react, as it wasn't exactly a pretty sharp entrance.
Jarrell would like to hit the shit out of it.
All right. Yeah, I will give surprise on that one. I don't mind sort of setting the tone here.
So that's advantage.
Jarrell can go barreling in, and then we will roll into initiative after that, but I'd like you to start with what you got going on against this thing. And it is, just looking at my map here, let's say, that's about 5, 10, 15... about 20 feet away. So you've got a little bit of movement to get to it first, unless you're doing something with some range.
No. How far away did you say?
I'd say about 20 feet to your northeast.
Okay, yeah. So I can make that in my
easily
move.
Close that gap.
Yeah.
And then I hit it with a 29. So
29 definitely hits against AC. And what?
I fucking hope so.
Right. I will use...
it does right up until I say one doesn't. Then we got a different issue.
And then we all get really mad at you.
All right. Hold on. Paladin math.
Battle music.
Paladin math time. Do I get the second attack at advantage still or no?
Let's just leave the one at advantage. I think after that it's aware of your presence.
After the first clobber.
Yeah, I feel like it may know something's amiss at that point.
Like this is how we say hello. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I definitely hit it with both. I had a 19 on the second.
A 19 will also hit against AC.
I'm going to use a first and second level Divine Smite. Is this thing undead?
Wow, just
I want to see
First
how hard
and
it is to
second.
kill them.
Fine smite. Okay.
goddamn, dude.
Is this thing undead?
This thing is somewhat undead, yes.
Just a little undead?
It's undead enough.
I
For
don't think
damage
this word-
calculation
yeah.
purposes, it
Yes,
is undead. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I got
Here we go, folks. We'll be right back while John rolls a shitload of dice and does a shitload of math. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side of that dice roll. 5 minutes later.
All right, so in total, that's 25 slashing and 40 radiant damage from those two attacks.
Yowza.
There were a bunch of ones. I wish I got to reroll ones like some of the fighters do.
Shut up. You get so many more dice than they do. So you know what? Like, I don't want to hear it, okay? You have more dice to roll for damage than all of us.
I just rolled
Shit,
10
probably all of
D8.
us combined. Right.
It is definitely it's definitely feeling the effects. But it is not down yet, and now we get to roll initiative.
Hey, like those words. Love
Yep,
those
roll
words.
that beautiful bean footage, folks. But okay, all right. So everybody, it seems, gets a turn before our construct or undead or whatever it is. You haven't quite defined that all that closely. Maybe you'll learn something by smashing the shit out of it. Felix, you're up first.
I guess I'll start by smashing the shit out of it. I'm going to fire Eldritch Blast, which is 3 separate bolts now. Well, I guess it has been for a little bit. And each bolt does some interesting stuff because it has Repelling Blast and Agonizing Blast and Lance of Lethargy on it. So it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff.
Alrighty then.
Eldritch Invocations, baby. Oh, fuck. Really? Okay, I'm going to move my camera just so you guys can see. I mean, hopefully they all still hit because I do have plus 12 on all these. But just so you guys can see, on the die, that's a 2, and a 3.
Can't see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so that's going to be a 15 and 2 14s.
None of those will beat AC.
God damn it. Wow, dice.
Well, at least
Wow.
you know 29 beats it.
Okay, thanks, John.
Yes, thank you. That's super useful information. Because of your 2 rolls, that's the one that really tells us things.
What this fucking guy.
The other one's
I'm
a
gonna-
31.
I'm going to pretend like, you know, I was firing warning shots, obviously, right? You know, and then I'm going to command Slim Shady, my familiar, to go assist, you know, to give the help action to Quinn for his next attack. Because aside from Jarrell, Quinn is the only other fightery type among us because he did take some levels of fighter, right? So he has proven he can stab and hurt things.
I can stab and hurt things.
So yeah, next attack roll is advantage. And that's my turn.
All right. Okay, so Jarrell is up next yet again.
Not the impact I wanted. Oh, right, I forgot he's got a surprise round. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I committed to Quinn, so we're at Quinn. Jarrell doesn't need the help. Anyways.
That's
Oh, wait, did his surprise round already count, or?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like, I was confusing the turn order because, like, I know that Jarrell already took an action, but that was the previous surprise round, not initiative order.
Yeah.
But I don't think that changes my decision.
Yeah, no, I think that that works out. So yes, Jarrell, yeah, whatever else you plan on doing to this poor thing.
A 27 and a 22 to hit. I imagine they hit.
Yes, both of those will do the job.
That is... $25 slashing again. Does my Divine Smite happen whether or not I expend the slot still?
You get the 1d8 for free with improved divine smite. It's always one. You always get at least 1d8 with improved divine smite, and then in order to spend the slot, you can get more. But improved divine smite means that you always add 1d8 radiant to every attack that you hit.
Now, when my Sword of Justice says plus 1d8 radiant damage, does that just do it on its own, or is that always with
that's
divine
on top of the improved divine smite. So you get 2d8 anytime you connect, essentially, because of the
Right, that's
sword
what I
as well.
thought. That's what I thought.
When fighting undead specifically with the sword.
Yes, I calibrate accordingly.
And then another 11 radiant damage for my Sword of Justice special damage.
Dude, you rolled the same rolls on those d8 both times. A 3 and an 8, and a 3 and an 8.
Yep.
Incredible.
All right, it is still on its feet, but you have hurt it quite a bit. It is dented and leaking eldritch fumes.
Eldritch fumes?
Sure, that too. But that moves us along in the order to Arasatra.
So they're on the north side at the teleporter. This egg thing was smashing the teleporter, and then Jabrel just laid a beat down.
Yes.
Arasatra
tried
wants
to shoot it. Did not.
Tried to.
wants
Not
to
successful.
move to the western side of the room and try to get a look at this thing around the shoulders of Jabrel. Is there a vantage point where I can get far enough to the side of the room?
Okay, so to the immediate west of the what would have been the platform there where Jarrell is engaging it. There is about 5, 10, 15, about 20 feet of space before you start hitting the curved wall there.
Okay.
So you could be as far as 20 feet away and still be to the immediate west and not have hit the wall yet.
And behind the teleporter.
You will have wall right to your northwest at that point.
Okay.
Well, not behind the teleporter. I thought you just said just immediately to the west of that teleporter to the north, where that's the one getting smashed is the north teleporter.
Right. They're up here. I'm over on the west. I just want to get a look at this thing around the shoulders of Jarrell. I know it's 8 feet tall, but I don't want him to be any crossfire.
So yes, you can be to its west and not be shooting Jarrell in the back, for example.
Okay. I would like to cast a moonbeam at this egg-shaped creature at 3rd level.
3rd level moonbeam.
Yeah. So Arasatra moves to the side. She waves out her staff, and then she straight forward like a punch, holding the staff, and a bright beam of light shines down 5-foot radius from the floor to the ceiling. Right on the thing. And it needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right, Constitution saving throw coming right up.
Engulfed in ghostly flames that cause searing pain.
Ghostly flames.
Ghostly flames.
Searing pain.
So it is checking in with a 14 on that save.
That does not pass. I have a 17 on the DC. So I'm casting at 3rd level. It's taking 3d10 radiant damage.
All right.
Had a girl.
All right. So 7, 5, 12 plus 10 is 22 radiant.
All right. You can describe what it looks like when this thing is utterly destroyed by the powers of nature.
It's unnaturally illuminated. The moonbeam doesn't strike with any force. It just emanates and appears, almost a la Star Trek holodeck, kind of like vaporization appears into this moonlight.
Yeah, it just encapsulates this thing, right?
Slowly, you see the smoky, ghostly light from the eyes dim out, and it slumps and just crumples to the floor as the metal begins to shine on it with this ghostly dim light.
Ghostly dim light.
Yeah. searing flames. So I guess the flames in the eyes. It's just like fully runs through it and then extinguishes.
Yeah, I can imagine these like sort of like almost like golden flames just like licking off the side of like the metal frame of this thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. Those things are... What are these things?
That's a good question. I can definitely try to find out. Also, strong work there, intern. I'll make sure that you're put in for a promotion.
Yes, you almost performed as well as I did.
I am here on my own accord. I will leave when the job's done.
Right. That sounds great. I'll make sure you're put in for a promotion.
And she just glares. She'll glare down, like clearly, like we are equals, but this situation is totally fucked.
Right, but because you're brand new to the crew, right? You're an intern in Felix's eyes. Just because, like, you know, anytime someone new is introduced, it's because someone brought them to us as an intern. You know, we're not used to just. I mean, because otherwise, we're the ones shanghaiing someone else into the party, right? Like, if we didn't invite you personally, you're an intern.
Yeah, the interns who have come to us have not traditionally been of the most rarefied
Competent caliber.
Yeah.
The exception, I guess, would be Stenton.
Yes, Stenton was competent.
He's the only other competent one of the bunch, I think. Consistently competent one.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess Tabi too, but I'm not going to try to toot my own horn here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's also,
Tabi. And
Tabi's all early on.
Murph didn't have that stupid ring.
All right. I would like to investigate the husk or shell, right, of what was previously carrying or a vessel for these ethereal or eldritch spirits.
Yes. So it does appear to be some sort of almost like an empty shell of armor, but not made to fit any one person, just to take that shape but be hollow. It's probably a quarter-inch thick, so relatively thick metal of maybe a brass or a bronze that has definitely tarnished quite heavily. It is more green than anything else. The light is entirely faded from it, though.
Are there any? I mean, because of the fact that it's been tarnished a bit, is there any recognizable, almost like? I guess I'm trying to both inspect the craftsmanship of it as well as maybe any origins, right? Of styles or any sort of I guess even just the aesthetic, aspect of it to maybe understand its origins, right? Like, was this always a vessel to carry spirits, or did it have another intended usage before it was repurposed into this horrible thing?
Justify this to me via either an Arcana or Investigation check.
They're both the same, so I'm gonna go with investigation, since I'm kind of like scanning it and searching it and kind of really sort of giving it putting it under a microscope.
All right.
Are you wearing your goggles?
I'm not currently. I'm just giving it like an actual ocular pat down, right? Because the goggles do tint everything. I want to give it I want to actually see it for what it is first. And that's a 16.
That is a 16. So things you can notice about it. It's definitely some sort of patina that would have developed over decades on its own. So either this is very old or has been aged unnaturally. There are runes engraved all over it. On the inside, not the outside, but just on the inside of the metal, it's nothing but runes at varying sizes, but just covering every square inch of the inside of the metal here.
Am I able to determine if those runes were added later than when this was crafted?
At your investigation, it looks like the patina is inside the engraving as well. So
okay, just curious. I'm trying to guess. So this is. I mean, I wouldn't say ancient tech, but old, sort of. This is an old. This isn't modern science magic that we see with the project. This is definitely something older than that, potentially. Okay, great. I just kind of getting an idea. So I'm good if anyone else has anything they're trying to do before we determine our next course of direction.
Jarrell is going to kneel down next to the teleporter pad that he was smashing. And does it appear that it's non-functional?
It has been pretty well demolished. It is cracked down the middle and broken into 4 pieces of relatively large size, one about half the size, and others sort of thirds of that, plus many other smaller pieces of rubble. It has been rendered inoperable permanently.
Inoperable, okay. I was going to say, because I could help and even flip the goggles down and then look at it, but I think we have the information we need to say that we can't use this one.
Yes, this one has been destroyed.
So I'm going to say, guys, there's probably a reason why it was smashing this one. So we may have to work our way north, but we can't definitely do it with this pad. It's obviously this thing was trying to block the way to something. So what do you think?
I mean, we're on an island. And the island's... peninsula. Okay.
This is like on a cliff's edge at like a northern part of a peninsula. Is that what you described, Dave? Make sure I'm correct on that assumption.
It is on an island at the south edge of the island, and the harbor is at the south. And there are mountains. It's like a singular crag that makes up this island that's sort of to the north of the tower. But
and we're close to the main peninsula.
You're sort of in between both of the major bodies. Let me pull up the map of Tal'Daria real quick.
I thought we had ventured south from the peninsula into the open waters. Yeah. But
I think I'm confusing it.
The peninsula and northeast of the main body of land that the Sea Lords occupy.
Okay, that makes more sense. I see. I was confusing it with because we could see the peninsula from on the airship, but the lighthouse does not exist in the peninsula. It's just that we could see, more of the shape of the peninsula from 1,000 feet up.
Yeah, it's in that archipelago of islands in between the peninsula and the main Sea Lords Island.
Cool. And for reference, again, for our audience, if you don't know, the map of Tal'Daria can be found pinned on our Discord page in the artwork channel, or again, it was used with permission of Maxime Pless on maxesmaps.com. And yeah, the map of Tal'Daria is right there if you ever want to reference it. Obviously, some of the town names are missing because we've added a few locations along the way, but it's still a good point of reference.
Gorgeous map.
It's dude. Max did a fucking good job on that. Anyways.
So what Ari wants to know is if she can start to make any inferences based on the tube she saw going towards the west and this teleporter pointing to the north. I mean, she might not necessarily think that the teleporter actually its coordinates are attached to the north. Like it's a direct signal, the north teleporter goes to the north, but she might be starting somewhere and feeling like, can she figure out what's happening on the island here? She had a pretty good aerial view. You said there was a large crag on the other side.
There's a large crag, that this sort of sticks out of. So, let's say the first 100 feet or so of the 600, it's just like the front half of the tower, and it's a mountain behind it. And as it sort of goes up, it recedes backwards. As a mountain is sort of a cone, while this sticks up as more of a cylindrical monolith.
I see where she's going with this though, because we're talking about. I think Arasat is trying to determine, as far as orientation's concerned, where that crag wall is, where, as far as cardinal directions, is that oriented to the tower? Is it at the northern end of the tower, right? Where does the
tower?
Okay. I mean, not sure if those are related, but that's an interesting observation.
Yes.
She's used to reading signals in the land and natural signs and indications. Regardless, she would say, "Well, I believe the top of the tower was much narrower, so I suspect there's more beneath the surface. These teleporters are not transporting on the surface. They may be underground."
I mean, there are varying schools of thought on this, and I start going into teleporters and the magic that, powers them and how it could be many different things. It could just be a simple spell from just point A to point B as long as it exists in the same plane. You know what I mean? We don't really know exactly how these things are powered.
Did the
Still, useful information.
Did the tower get wider as it went down, like a normal lighthouse would?
I think it's been like slowly, like gradually getting wider as we've sort of gone through these teleporters. So we can only assume that we're descending. I think
it depends because there's no guarantee that we're going to. I think we should make sure that we're paying attention to the size of the rooms that we're going into.
Yes, we've also spent a lot of time in extra dimensional spaces in our day. So you know what I mean. Like size is also deceiving sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Well, how we literally have a hold of holding on the airship.
Both rooms we have been in so far have been larger than the top of the tower.
Exactly. So
south was the largest, and this room is a little bit smaller.
Yes, south was the largest. This is slightly smaller than that one, but it is larger than the first room with the portals you were in.
Right, but that larger room didn't have any other teleporters in it. This one does, though.
You can see.
And we entered in from the western one, so we have essentially south and east as our two working teleporter options.
South out of your first room put you at the south end of a larger room with some machinery that you didn't investigate too terribly hard. Let's see, west in that first room put you at the west in this particular room, which was slightly larger and more or less configured about the same, with that big blue cylinder coming right down the middle of the room.
That comment about not investigating too terribly hard, I wonder if that was a dig at us not giving a shit.
Maybe.
Priorities, Dave.
Well, there are multiple ways to get around here, too, so.
A basement's a basement.
Yeah. How do you know it's the basement?
I was going to say something else, but I decided I'm going to save that joke. All right. Well, friends, two options here. I'm going to vote south as our first direction of choice.
Don't look at me. I'm just an intern.
Oh.
Okay, there's no need to be salty about it. There are plenty of perks that come along with being a Heroes of Telduria intern. Okay, first of all, like I said, there's a welcome package that you should have received and you haven't already. We'll make sure we arrange that you've received it. Also, the promotion that we've just offered you, I mean, very lucrative. This is a very good group to be associated with, my friend. I mean, listen, you were brought here to us somehow. I have no idea actually how you got here, but how you got here doesn't matter. What matters is that we have the same goal in common, and that you will be handsomely compensated for your efforts because you have done well for the Heroes of Telduria. We have a brand to maintain,
Darrell is giving you the side eye and kind of like steering you onto the southern one. He has no idea what you're referring to as the plenty of perks that the intern.
Ari's already walking to the south platform.
Yeah,
listen, I'm just trying to be the salesman. It doesn't matter if what I'm saying is true. It just matters if you believe it.
The biggest perk is probably Pregnard's cooking. Like that's probably the best thing that you're getting out of all of this.
Well, plenty of new experiences, right?
What were you gonna say, Mike?
Pregnant's cooking is a pretty good perk. I'm happy with that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Come on.
It literally cured a plague.
Right.
That good.
Well, in tandem with your magic, right? It wasn't just the chicken soup, but we don't.
I'm gonna say it was about 50-50 on that one.
Let's not split hairs.
The fact that it was food and drink made.
South we go.
So that's something you guys are looking to do. Is this a group decision?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the entire group goes to the south platform in this room and stands on the teleporter. Zoom, 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 zoom. Or whatever sound effect, And you are in, drumroll, on a teleporter in a room 20 feet by 20 feet squared. The ceiling is about 10 feet high, maybe closer to 12, high enough where everyone fits in here without having to stoop or anything. Unlike the tower, This room is not stone at all, but has rich red carpeting and lots of dark wood in the walls, with some wood paneling that comes to maybe about 4 feet off the ground, with a little bit of trim at the top there. Above that, rich green and gold wallpaper goes to the ceiling.
Green and gold wallpaper.
Yes. There's even that kind of patterned brass stuff that you see on ceilings in like really old houses, with chandeliers hanging down a hallway that stretches out ahead of you for several hundred feet.
So this is not a circular room then?
No, it is a square room that is 20 by 20, and out of one of the ends of it, your sense of direction is a little off unless someone can reliably find direction in here.
Quinn, do you have a compass? You have navigator's tools, damn it. Do you have a compass?
I literally pull 4 different compasses out of my navigator bag. Which one do you choose?
Why do you have more than one compass?
Well, you have to cross-navigate and check and all that stuff. He just starts rambling on about navigation. Actually understand, but he can do it.
VX, but for boats.
So which way is north?
This hallway extends off to the east.
Well, shall we continue? I feel like this is very different than what we.
There is one final detail that is probably quite pertinent. As 20 feet down the hall, there is a gate that blocks the entire hallway. As you continue to look, there are gates periodically down this entire hallway as far as the eye can conveniently see, spaced regularly.
Oh, goddamn.
You also notice that down this hallway there are numerous portraits of people in various robes in what appear to be, some sort of official portraiture going down this almost ludicrously long hallway.
But it's gated off in multiple sections.
Yes, it is.
Is there a lock on the gate? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to investigate one of the gates.
You may investigate the gate.
Yes. What does it look like?
The gate is metal bars from floor to ceiling. They are roughly about an inch apart. There is no visible mechanism anywhere on this gate.
Quinn starts to investigate the walls. He's looking for some sort of trap switch or something.
You may go ahead and make an investigation check if you choose to do so then.
I'm going to check the north wall.
Okay.
An 11?
There is no mechanism which you can detect that will do anything to this gate. It appears
Make sure we cover our bases.
a solid wall.
To make sure we cover our bases, I will investigate the southern wall.
You may do so.
9.
You also cannot find any mechanism by which this gate is controlled.
Jarrell
these are
will
open elsewhere.
try to move the gate.
Oh, all right, Jarrell, you may make a strength check to try to move the gate in some fashion.
Bend the
Are
bars.
you trying to manipulate this gate in, by the way?
I guess he's just gonna push it and see if it moves in any direction. Sometimes you can tell which way a door will open.
Yeah.
It's just a 16.
Push it real good. It doesn't really move at all. It's pretty stationary.
Okay.
If I were to look at the floor and ceiling, does it appear that there are holes in which this gate is protruding from?
The bars that are all vertical, there are no horizontal bars to this gating at all, go into the floor and into the ceiling.
Okay. Something tells me these are opened elsewhere. There's some sort of mechanism or something that's controlling the status of these gates.
I'm going to cast Mage Hand and touch the ceiling.
The ceiling behaves as it you would expect a ceiling would behave when touched by a mage hand.
It's not a naughty ceiling.
Behaving.
You got spanked that feeling.
Pass through it. It's not illusionary. It's not altered
Bad
in any way.
ceiling. Bad ceiling.
How did we get here?
Tell Daddy he likes.
Oh God.
It's getting weirder.
It's only weird if you make it weird.
Yeah, well, we did.
Yeah, you did.
Quinn's looking weird.
It has been made weird.
Art is looking at the paintings, like these portraits, right? She's more interested in why this room would be configured this way, and she's like, are these friends of yours? Who do you suppose these people are?
Are there names underneath the paintings, or are there any paintings like on this side of the bars?
There are paintings, one on each the north and the south wall, just before the bars, and you can see through the bars enough to see that there are further bars past it, but that there are also more portraits on the walls. I mean, it's not so bad that you can't see it. It's just so tight that you can't get anything through them except for maybe your fingers to grab on.
Right. Do the portraits have names below them though, to signify who these people
Yes.
are? Like, what do they look like?
Let's see. The person at the on the north wall is an older lady, maybe in her 70s. It appears very dignified, very well kept, but still gray-haired, wearing black ceremonial robes with some sort of blue stole on them. It does not have a name at the bottom, though.
Okay. To the south?
To the south is a middle-aged gentleman, maybe about 40 or so, with one hell of a handlebar mustache. He's also wearing those black robes with a sort of blue thing going on with him.
Can Jarrell roll a history check to see if he recognizes the robes, the outfits, the styles, anything like that?
Sure. I mean, this isn't your native country, so you're swinging for the fences a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's a good try.
Nope, 16. I don't think I'm going to get anything with that.
Yeah, 16. I mean, if they look very scholarly, but that's about all you can divine out of it.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
so
this is further confirming that there's something magical, like, some sort of almost like mage tower happening at this lighthouse.
yeah, that's something we kind of already knew. Just wanted to kind of confirm it or see if I knew anything about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good call. If we had more time, I could definitely divine some things more specifically, but I'm not trying to ritualize right now. There's no time.
All right, so back on the teleporter.
Yeah, is there only one teleporter that entered us into this chamber?
Yes, there's only one teleporter. It takes up the entire, middle squares of this 20 by 20 room, 4 squares aside, the 4 middle ones.
Let's go in. Let's go back
All right,
into it.
so back to the teleporter, and that puts you back at the south end of this particular room.
Let's head east before we start backtracking further.
Okay, to the east. That's the party decision, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
We're just following Felix in terms of which teleporter we're going to try next. Yeah.
Here.
And you appear on a teleporter pad at the north of a much larger room than you had previously been in. This one is, possibly as much as 80 feet across or something. You would have to really count it out, but it's way bigger. Yes, it's circular. It is also very much taller than the rooms you have been in previously. The ceiling goes up at least 100 feet, if not more. This is mostly just the hollow middle of the tower. Sort of spaced regularly are diagonal support buttresses that come out of the ground and go parallel to each other, that crisscross up the middle of the tower, sort of making it like a bird bone structure, holding it together. But there are no visible stairs that you can see going up. The other things you can see in the middle of the room, sort of in the middle of where all of these buttresses are, is a slightly lowered section. They're almost like there might be seats at a 30-foot radius in the middle of the room. And also patrolling around in between all of these buttresses are a pretty large number of these automata. It would take maybe an investigation check to count them, but you can see that they are all milling around, currently unaware of your presence. At the extreme south, there is what appears to be a door that might even go to the outside.
By automata, what do you mean by automata?
These same things you encountered earlier. These soul-forged monstrosities, yes.
Okay. How many? Gerald wants to count them.
All right. Make a... I think that's something you could probably perceive if you wanted to make a perception check for it.
Oh, yeah, good old Gerald perception check.
Can Gerald count? Today we find out on the Hapless Heroes. 15.
Yeah, 15. It looks like there's maybe as many as 20 in the room. That sounds about right.
Let's go back.
They all appear aware with their eyes all glowing, like just kind of staring intently, inactive.
Yeah, same
milling around in the center. There are none really at the outside of these pillars here, which you might be able to get some cover behind.
Is there a similar patina in all these?
Yes, they all look very similar to the one you fought.
We need let's back out of here. This would be an unnecessary fight, I think.
Yeah, Gerald really wants to kill them, but there's too many.
If they're exiting through that opening, isn't there something we should do to prevent them from getting outside?
I have one word answer for that. Interns.
That's me.
Well, I mean, aside from you, you're with us, okay? You're rolling with the main crew right now, so there's certain privileges that come with that.
She swings.
We'll have Hedrick supervise the interns. I'm sure he'll do great.
Yes, that he never shits.
No, he doesn't, but man, do I love his voice.
He's okay.
He's okay.
Well, let's
backtrack.
Okay, you can backtrack out of here. Yes.
Okay, let's backtrack. Off the platform, back on the teleportation platform.
Off the platform, back on the platform. And that puts you back at the west side of this last room you were in.
Okay. Let's go west. To go back to the previous area again.
All right. So you guys are all agreed on heading west to the previous area?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I'll take that as a yes. And you head back to the previous area, which puts you at the west of the first room you were in. At the north is that spiral staircase up, and there are portals to the east and south.
We have not done east.
Right? You have not done east.
So let's start there, and then we'll further investigate that southern, like wherever that took us, to see if there's anything more of note in there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So everyone is heading to the east then?
Yes.
All right. So you head to the east, and you are teleported into a room, which is a, let's see, 10, 20, 30, about a 40-foot square. There are desks lining many of the walls and what appear to be some sort of console all along the north wall.
Anything else in here?
Does not appear to be any people, but it appears that this room may have been evacuated pretty quickly. Still mugs of coffee on some of these desks. Papers are scattered about, and a couple of chairs are knocked over.
But all of that is at the northern end of the room. Is there anything else occupying, I guess, the rest of the space?
Not particularly anything of note, just the desks with paperwork and stuff like that. And the console on the north is several different buttons and lights.
Let's go inspect the console.
Are there any doors, windows, or anything else in the room?
Nothing that you can tell right now without having to investigate for them.
I'd like to cast guidance on Felix.
All right, I guess I'll investigate.
I'll put my hand on his shoulder and just kind of watch it.
Do you have to also kneel down in order?
I could probably just touch him with my stick, my staff. Just kind of poke
your disco stick.
It's okay. I'm a willing creature. There is consent.
Yes, you are.
I rest my staff briefly on his shoulder.
Do you know?
Yes, we've established that.
Yes, this has taken a bit of a turn, but sure. And you are now guided by his staff.
She's got a great staff.
Yes.
All right.
I should be the character, not the player.
So 16 plus now 3 from the D4 makes okay, that's all right. 19 on the investigation.
All right, so an investigation of a 19. Now, what particularly are you investigating?
I'm so sorry. It's plus 6, so that's an 18 plus 3, 21.
Okay, so where are you directing this 21 investigation at? What are you trying to investigate? The room?
I was trying to investigate the console. That seems to be the most defining feature of the room.
Okay, so on the console on the north, and if you were to look at it, there appears to be some sort of magical panel that's taking up the north wall above the top of the console here, which is a sequence of 30 unidentifiable runes. There are several different controls on the actual console, but one of them, a big flashing blue dial, is at the center.
And none of them are labeled.
No, none of them are labeled.
I mean,
do you think this is what they're after? Shouldn't we turn it off? They'll go away.
I don't know about that. Now this dial.
Remind me, was the light at the top of the lighthouse
Yeah, was it on?
The light was on, yes.
So I'm just making a color connection where it's a dial and a light.
A dial and what?
Well, there's a blue dial, and then the light was blue.
Yeah, the light is also blue.
Maybe. Does this dial look like it spins the full 360 degrees?
It is round. Maybe it spins the full 360.
Yeah, there's no indicator as to where it's pointing, right? It's just a dial. There's no
it's just a circular dial. It doesn't have any scale or any numbers attached to it, though.
Okay, the impulsive side of me wants to just turn it. The intellectual side of me would like to make some sort of maybe
turn it also.
Arcana determination. You might flip the goggles down first. Am I able to see maybe any connections, any sort of any more of the intricacies or workings of this console with the detect magic effect sort of highlighting them?
Oh yes, you can see intricacies. The problem is you can see more intricacies than you can write down in any convenient amount of time. This is borderline art.
So highly complex.
Yes. Complex almost for the sake of complexity.
Right, but would it seem like the dial is the most interactable thing on this console?
The dial connects to a lot of different stuff.
I'm gonna Felix is gonna do that thing where he slowly reaches his hand out, almost to he just that very the fingers slowly moving he wants to turn the dial. And before I touch it, I'm gonna turn to my companions. Just say, what do we think? Do we just go for trial and error here, or do you think that there may be some consequences that we don't want?
So just this is a magical dial.
There is a lot of magically identifying energy flowing through all of this. Yes,
that is a yes.
So probably more than a dispel magic spell could deal with.
Yeah, and even if it was successful, if you were to dispel all the magic from this, we could be potentially ending something that's beneficial. Screw it. There's no objections. I'm cranking this thing slightly to the right.
When you said cranking, I was like, oh god.
It goes to the right, and the first 2 runes on the board light up.
First 2 rooms on...
Runes.
Runes.
There are probably about 30 runes on the board. 10 rows, or I'm sorry, 3 rows of 10.
Do we recognize these runes at all?
They are currently unidentifiable unless you have some sort of comprehend languages augmentation.
Would the languages of Goblin, Abyssal, Gnome, or Dwarf apply to these runes?
They would not.
Okay.
Elven?
They are not Elven either.
I didn't think so.
That's fine. I'm just gonna continue to turn this ever so slightly clockwise.
All right, 2 more runes light up. Now it's 4 out of 30.
Do I feel anything different? Has anything changed? Anything?
Yes, it's slightly brighter in here with 4 runes lit up.
Okay, but that's it.
That's all you notice right
now. The floor is not shaking. Like, nothing bad is necessarily happening.
Not yet.
Should we
Not
go
yet.
check?
That is encouraging.
Should we go
I'm not
check
supposed to be encouraging. I'm the DM. I'm not your facilitator.
I love Dave, the DM.
Adversary.
Check with who, John?
either the middle mechanical room or the actual lighthouse light?
See if anything's changed. I mean, that would be probably the safest bet, just to kind of see if our actions here have had any effect, any measurable effect, before we continue to just turn unknown dials.
We should be able to see the effect of our actions.
Are we able?
That would be wise.
Are we able to contact the people up in the 11 o'clock shadow? Yeah.
Do you have any mechanism by which to do it?
We don't remember, because like we determined last time that the way we communicated with them was like some essentially a glorified fucking like cup on a string.
What about Slim?
Slim will be out of range if she.
Well, actually,
right?
1,000 feet.
1,000? Wow.
You don't know where this room is.
Yeah, that's
doesn't fit within the topography of the tower that you are familiar with.
That's the other thing. I can send her through teleporters and stuff like that, right? But I can't guarantee that. Like I guess we're as long as the same plane of existence, I can communicate with her. But if we're too far, then it's a wash. I mean, we could test it out, or we could just.
I mean, it's worth.
We could just.
I feel like it might be worth a try.
How about if we backtrack first till we get to a familiar place that we definitely know is in the lighthouse, and then send her out?
It's up.
Yeah,
I mean, she's yours, so.
Well, I just figure like if I lose, well, okay, screw it. Let's just give it a shot. I'm going to assume the control of the senses of Slim Shady as a pseudo dragon, right?
All right. And
send her towards the teleporter, and have her like touch her feet down onto the actual platform so that it recognizes or registers. Yeah, of this room.
Okay. And the teleporter goes zhush, 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 and Slim Shady is teleported.
Do I still have a mental connection to Slim?
If it means 1,000 feet, you do not.
Okay. Well, that sucks.
So then back we go, correct?
Yep.
Right, we should follow her to get her back.
Yep.
Are we?
Maybe turn that dial back before we leave the room.
But then we don't know what it's doing.
Yeah, we need. Yeah, we
need
need to know
like shut it off.
If we shut it off, then we won't know what the effects are.
Right.
She is reluctant, and she will concede. No check needed.
We backtrack.
Okay, so you guys backtrack, and you are stepping onto the teleporter, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to pause in time just very briefly. Is there any reason that Slim Shady would get off the teleporter on the other side?
I mean, if I've lost connection with her, I have no idea. I mean, she might be floating now or like flying, right?
Her intention was to go to communicate with the 11 o'clock shadow. It wasn't to go and sit.
I mean, it was my intention that I essentially imparted into her, right? But when she's acting on her own volition, she just exists in the space. I mean, I would assume that Slim would probably start flying, right? Because like her normal operating state is sort of airborne, unless she's like resting on my shoulders, right?
Okay, I'm going to determine it like this. Since this is a really Boolean outcome, either Slim Shady is on the platform or she is not on the platform, we're going to determine this by simple chance. Heads, she's on the platform. Tails, she is not on the platform.
That's fine. If we like absolutely blast her to pieces, I can just summon her back in 10 minutes.
Yes, and that's actually exactly what is going to happen. Is it's heads, and she was still on the platform. And matter, even in a magical world, can't occupy the same place at the same time. Slim Shady is unfortunately, in this current form, destroyed.
That's fine. So like you see like her explode, and then like it's almost like this like it's like her the pieces of her almost get sucked into like the ether and just like just disappear.
If it means anything to you guys, you don't actually see her explode. There's just no Slim Shady and blue goo.
Blue goo.
This happens sometimes.
Very quickly dissolve into the ether. If it's sublimate, it does dissolve into the ether almost as if it's like sublimating off the ground.
Felix, how do you respond?
I actually have an idea. That
No,
tangentially,
not at all.
That tangentially gave me an idea about something else I could do with Slim to potentially protect myself from something very dangerous. But I'll share that when it's time, and I'll just DM Dave about it.
It sounds like fun.
So can we climb the stairs to the north and see if there's any change in the bulb or the surrounding area?
All right, so you have gone out of the west back into that room, and yes, you can climb the stairs to the north, and it appears that the bulb is operating just as it was before.
Okay, interesting. Let's take that southern platform and go into that mechanical room and see if there's anything changed in there.
Yeah.
Okay, you can take the southern platform and you go back into that air quotes mechanical room, and it appears that everything is operating much as you feel like it was before.
What about the gates?
Well, that's a different room. So
No, I know, but what about the gates? That could also
we can
be...
check the gates.
we can check that out. But how about we just, since we're here, give this room a quick look over, like a little bit more of an.
I think that's a great idea.
Let's all yell it at each other.
So what is everyone doing now?
So Jarrell is useless for an investigation. So
everyone just starts talking.
Yeah.
All right, so Jarrell's useless. He's gonna step back then.
I mean, he'll help. He'll provide the help action.
All right, who are you helping?
Felix. He's probably the best investigator.
So nice of you to say that.
Probably.
I'll help the captain.
Thanks.
So I'm gonna investigate sort of towards the center where that box is.
Okay.
And yeah, give that area a bit of a look over.
Sounds good.
Good thing I got the help action, because that first one was a nat 1. This one's a 12.
A 12. You notice that there is a pipe coming out by the north, and like it looks like maybe there's something's up with one of the tiles near that tube, but you can't quite tell what's going on with it. It's a slightly different color.
Okay, I'll note that and head that direction while Quinn does his check of something else.
Yeah, like what? So he's in the center. I'm gonna go to kind of the far corner from the the platform, what's there?
There are no corners in this room.
Circular room,
It's a
yeah.
circular
It's
room.
a circular room. I'm getting confused on all the different rooms. Okay, so this is the circular room. So I'll start, I guess, where the platform is and just kind of start investigating the wall area.
Okay, so the nearest wall is 10 feet to the south of that. This room is, just for reference, 10, 20, 30, 40 feet radius, so 80 feet in diameter. And your 10-foot platform is 10 foot north of the extreme south of this circle.
Yeah. My brain's not
Yeah,
working.
I get that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I get that. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Perfect.
lots of
Yeah.
circles.
Okay. All right. Cool.
South, there's some sort of box thing. There's a tube going into the ground to the north and one going to the west.
So I will go to the. You went to the center, so I'll go to. Does that make sense?
You'll go where? Sorry, say that again.
To the west.
Okay. So to the west, there is a
Or do I not have to check?
box. It is 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet high of what appears to be a pretty uniform metal with that 5 foot diameter tube that sits, a couple of feet off the ground. It's coming dead center out of that box and going dead center into the corresponding side of the other box. That's just what you had seen before. I wanted to describe that first. Now, what's your result of your investigation on it, though?
All right. So I also got a nat 1, but I get an 18 total.
An 18 total. So what you will notice about this is there don't appear to be any seams to it at all. Almost as if this is like a solid cube of metal, as opposed to just four panels, or 6 panels, or however many panels attached to each other to make this cube.
So it's like a continuous piece of metal, not necessarily welded.
Not necessarily welded, at least you cannot see any welds or joins. For all you know, this was carved out of a single block of metal.
Okay.
Except for the tube coming out of the east.
All right, I'm gonna look at that tile on the wall near the.
Yeah, it's on the floor just to the north of the of that box there.
Yeah, tell me more about it.
All right, so just make a little more in-depth investigation of that one in particular, I suppose.
We'll try this die. That's better. Math 23.
Yeah, with a little bit of jimmying, it pries up, and it looks like there's a ladder that goes down.
I don't like this.
I don't have any problem with that. Let's go down the ladder. Friends.
Okay, so you're the first one
first. Oh, we don't have slime.
Before we get too deep into this, Felix, you're the first one down, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have dark vision?
Goddamn right I do.
Do you have magical dark vision? Something that can see
120 feet of devil's sight, my dude.
120 feet of devil's sight. So you notice that this is in fact magical darkness in this room, but it is a maze of boxes and crates with only one path going to the north, very narrowly, about 5 feet wide. And this scene is what we're going to set for ending our episode tonight. Because I don't want to get too deep into this part.
Ooh, yummy.
Yes.
Yummy cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good. Like
Yeah.
this definitely feels like an exploration dungeon with something for everyone here.
Yeah, and magical dark vision. Can use it effectively right now. It's wonderful.
Yeah, like I had it as a block in the way I couldn't remember if somebody had Devil's Sight, but if you do, well, that's a fair game around some of these mechanics. I do like to encourage people to actually have some of these things. I don't want to thwart it at every freaking turn. But anyway, if you like us and you like our style and you like the way I do these kind of things, creating dungeons and tormenting my players with it, we can be found on the internet. We're in such places as Reddit/r/Hapless Heroes Podcast. We're also on Facebook, Hapless Heroes Podcast. both the gram and the Twitter, we can be found at Hapless Heroes. All of these places will take you to the crown jewel of our internet presence, our Discord server, where you can meet, greet, chat, and talk with us on a daily basis, as we all have accounts on Discord, and many of us are active on a daily basis. But more important than us is our thriving community that we have sprouted up around us with our internet antics, and these people who listen to us week in and week out, sometimes for hours at a time, against medical advice. They have come to hang out with us and discuss D&D and life and other games, and it's a really great place. We would love it if you would join us there. Now, if you really like us, though, you could leave us a 5-star review on the podcast service of your choice. You are a grown-up, you're already listening to this as a podcast, you know what podcast service you like, but if you do leave us a review there, we can read it on air and then give you a review and recognize you for the 5-star human that you are. Now, if you really, really like us, you could donate to our Patreon, patreon.com/haplessheroes. And there are numerous reward pledge tiers on there. One of them will get you access to a special channel on our Discord, which is our Patrons Lounge, where, it's a little bit of exclusivity and a little bit of snootiness and about 50% or so bloopers and other chat, and also the opportunity to join our patrons only events, like our upcoming the Jackbox Day. You got details on that, Fran?
Yeah, still looking at August 29th, Saturday. I'm looking at probably about 1 p.m. to question mark, probably at least 5 or 6 is when we hung out till last time, because we got to eat. But yeah, I'll post there should be, if there's not an announcement by now, there should be an announcement soon on our Patreon site, as well as our Patron Lounge in Discord.
If you like us, I mean, not just kind of like us here, because this isn't a kind of like us thing, but you gotta really like us. I mean, like, you gotta have the commitment to go and follow Sally Field and the whole deal around on their tour. And if you got that kind of commitment, maybe you can build a scale model of the Tower of Legrodex, the Lighthouse of Legrodex.
Scale model?
Yes, a scale model. But as you are a patron, a consumer, a gourmand of the arts, and I say gourmand because I would like you, in the tradition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, to do it with mashed potatoes. And after you have created this tower of mashed potatoes, and I said scale model, it doesn't actually have to be 600 feet high. That's a lot of potatoes. There's a lot of people who would be deprived of food if you actually did that. So do a scale model, take a picture, send it to us, and that way you can show that you really, really, really love us.
Doable.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just, a little disturbing is all.
A beacon of potatoes. And the mashed.
Cook them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Just like our cast here, which I'm going to outro starting from my right. As the fabulous Felix Fizzlebottom, we have Francesco.
I'm so glad that everyone's following my plans.
To his right, as Lord Jarrell the Light, we have John.
Well, it's a good thing we came back to this room, isn't it?
To his right, we have Lord and Captain Wind Southwind, played by Mike.
So many compasses, so many directions to travel.
And to his right, rounding out our party, we have Arasatra, played by Phil.
See anything down there?
Do that again.
Okay. Felix, can you see anything down there? I don't know, guys. I think he's dead.
And just like Arasatra sees nothing but blackness, my black little heart delights in closing out this episode and leaving this cliffhanger for you good listeners for next week. My name is Dave. I've been your host and DM. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
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 We'll see ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.